Before we start the video, I feel like it's important to mention first that Tropical Storm Miyagi will not be mentioned on this list as it was not named until September 1st. The first storm of August 2024 was Hurricane Debbie, which lasted from August 2nd to August 9th. It formed as a tropical depression near Cuba and made landfall early on August 3rd with winds of 35 miles per hour and a pressure of 1,009 millibars. It became a tropical storm about 15 hours later and began to intensify. Debbie gradually intensified and reached hurricane status on August 4th. It peaked as it made landfall near Cedar Key, Florida, with winds of 80 miles per hour and a pressure of 979 millibars. Debbie weakened as it moved over land, briefly weakening to a tropical depression as it passed near Savannah. Debbie then reattained tropical storm status and made its final landfall about 20 miles east-northeast of Charleston with winds of 60 miles per hour and a pressure of 994 millibars. Debbie rapidly weakened and turned extratropical and dissipated on August 9th. It caused around $5 billion in damage and killed 10 people. The next storm was Tropical Storm Daniel. It formed on August 3rd and very slowly intensified to its peak from 1007 millibars when it formed to 1005 millibars early on August 5th when it peaked. Due to unfavorable conditions, though, Daniel began to rapidly weaken and dissipated later that day. The next storm was Tropical Storm Amelia, which formed on August 4th as a tropical depression and became a tropical storm around 9 hours later. Amelia gradually intensified as it did a U-turn, reaching its peak on August 7th with winds of 70 miles per hour and a pressure of 988 millibars. As it peaked, it absorbed Tropical Storm Fabio and began to rapidly weaken due to interaction with Fabio and unfavorable conditions. On August 8th, it weakened to a tropical depression and dissipated later that day. The next storm is Tropical Storm Fabio. It formed on August 5th and quickly intensified to its peak on August 6th with winds of 65 miles per hour and a pressure of 992 millibars. It began to weaken due to interaction with Amelia and was absorbed by Amelia on August 7th. The next storm was Typhoon Maria. It formed as a tropical depression on August 6th and became a tropical storm early on August 7th. Maria rapidly intensified to its peak intensity on August 8th as a Category 1 with winds of 85 miles per hour and a pressure of 969 millibars. It began to weaken shortly after reaching its peak. Maria eventually made landfall in northern Japan on August 11th with winds of 50 miles per hour and a pressure of 989 millibars. It weakened to a tropical depression on August 12th and turned extratropical later that day. It moved back over northern Japan and dissipated on August 15th. The damages are unknown and it caused 0 fatalities. The next storm was Tropical Storm Sun-Tin. An extratropical cyclone began to turn more tropical than usual on August 10th and became Tropical Storm Sun-Tin on August 12th. It peaked around 12 hours after being named with winds of 50 miles per hour and a pressure of 994 millibars. It began to weaken and turn extratropical on August 13th and moved across the northern Pacific as an extratropical cyclone and dissipated on August 18th. The first major tropical cyclone of August was Typhoon Ampil. It formed as a tropical depression on August 12th and became a tropical storm about 6 hours later. Ampil began to intensify and reached typhoon status on August 14th, began to rapidly intensify, and became a Category 2 before the end of the day. On August 15th, Ampil continued to rapidly intensify and peaked that night as a Category 4 with winds of 140 miles per hour and a pressure of 930 millibars. It began to weaken as it headed off northeast. On August 18th, Ampil turned extratropical and dissipated around 72 hours later. The damages from Ampil are unknown and it caused 0 fatalities. The next storm was Tropical Storm Wukong. It briefly reached tropical storm status and peaked with winds of 40 miles per hour and a pressure of 1,003 millibars. It weakened to a tropical depression shortly after and turned extratropical on August 14th. It dissipated on August 18th and did not affect any land. The next storm was Hurricane Ernesto. Ernesto formed on August 12th and made landfall on Guadalupe and Montserrat early on August 13th, with winds of 45 and 50 miles per hour and a pressure of 1,005 and 1,002 millibars. It then made landfall on the British Virgin Islands late on August 13th with winds of 65 miles per hour and a pressure of 996 millibars. It became a hurricane early on August 14th and gradually intensified as the storm began to grow larger. Ernesto peaked late on August 15th into the morning of August 16th as a Category 2 with winds of 100 miles per hour and a pressure of 968 millibars. It gradually weakened due to unfavorable conditions. Early on August 17th, Ernesto made landfall on Bermuda as a Category 1 with winds of 85 miles per hour and a pressure of 973 millibars. It weakened to a tropical storm that night. On the afternoon of August 18th, Ernesto reattained Category 1 status and reached a second peak early on August 19th, with winds of 90 miles per hour and a pressure of 968 millibars. On August 20th, Ernesto turned extratropical and dissipated on August 21st. Ernesto caused around $24 million in damage and killed 3 people. The next storm was Tropical Storm Yongdari, which formed as a tropical depression late on August 18th. Around 6 hours later, it became a tropical storm and peaked with a pressure of 999 millibars. Late on August 19th, it weakened to a tropical depression. On August 20th, Yongdari made landfall on the Korean border as an extratropical cyclone and dissipated on August 21st. It caused unknown damage and 0 fatalities. The next storm was Hurricane Gilma. On August 18th, a tropical depression formed in the eastern Pacific and became a tropical storm shortly after. Gilma reached its first peak on August 19th with winds of 60 miles per hour and a pressure of 999 millibars, but began to weaken shortly after. On August 20th, Gilma began to intensify again and reached hurricane status that night. On August 21st, Gilma rapidly intensified to a high-end Category 2 by that night. On August 22nd, Gilma reached its second peak as a Category 4 with winds of 130 miles per hour and a pressure of 947 millibars. On August 23rd, Gilma began to weaken. On August 24th, Gilma briefly weakened to a Category 1 but began to rapidly intensify. Early on August 25th, Gilma reached its third and strongest peak as a Category 4 with winds of 130 miles per hour and a pressure of 944 millibars. It weakened to a Category 2 by the end of that day. On August 26th, Gilma began to intensify and reached its fourth and final peak as a Category 3 with winds of 115 miles per hour and a pressure of 960 millibars. It began to rapidly weaken and dissipated on August 13th. It came dangerously close to Hawaii, but it did not cause any impacts there. The next storm was Typhoon Shanshan. It formed on August 21st as a tropical depression and became a tropical storm around 12 hours later. Shanshan gradually intensified and became a typhoon on August 23rd. It briefly weakened to a tropical storm, but reattained typhoon status again. Shanshan held its intensity until August 25th when it began to intensify again. On August 26th, Shanshan rapidly intensified to a Category 3. On August 27th, Shanshan peaked as a Category 4 with winds of 130 miles per hour and a pressure of 932 millibars. It weakened and made landfall on August 28th as a Category 2 with winds of 110 miles per hour and a pressure of 954 millibars. It made many landfalls as it moved through Japan. On August 30th, Shanshan briefly moved over water again and made landfall early on September 1st and dissipated later that day. The damages are unknown and Shanshan has killed at least 6 people. The next storm was the legendary Hurricane Hone that we waited 5 years for. It formed on August 22nd and became Tropical Storm Hone around 6 hours later. Hone gradually intensified and peaked as it made its closest pass to Hawaii as a Category 1 with winds of 85 miles per hour and a pressure of 986 millibars. It gradually weakened after it peaked and weakened to a tropical depression on August 29th. On August 31st, it regained tropical storm status. On September 1st, it moved into the western Pacific and weakened to a tropical depression shortly after. Hone is still active as a tropical depression currently. It has caused unknown damages in Hawaii and has killed 0 people. The final storm of August was Cyclone Asna, which formed late on August 29th. Asna slowly intensified as it moved westward and peaked on August 31st with winds of 50 miles per hour and a pressure of 989 millibars. Asna began to weaken after that due to unfavorable conditions and dissipated on September 1st. Asuna has caused unknown damages and has killed at least 29 people so far.